living a simple life, something out those aches and pains from working on the farm.
Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Farms. Check it out. I think one of the very first videos, if you go back in the catalog and look back to 2015 on VHS, I filmed a video about this very knife right here. This is the Rothco Survival Knife. This thing is so darn cool. If you did not own one of these back in the 80s, you were nobody, you were nothing. The Rothco Survival Knife was the epitome of Rambo First Blood Part 2. It is 420 molecular steel. It is made in Taiwan. It has a hollow handle that hides all kinds of survival gear. It has this nice pleatherette sheath with an actual sharpening stone inside. Oh, look at that. I mean, it's incredible. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the camera closer in and we're going to take a close look at this old Rothco survival knife. Check this beauty out right here. These things were available on mail order, right? So you'd see these ads in the back of magazines, Boy's Life and Outdoor Life, things like that. They were $19.99 or $9.99. I no longer remember how much they cost, but I know you got this knife, and you also got a little folding pocket knife that reminded me a lot of a buck knife. I've lost that one, unfortunately, but I had it for years, used it for years as my pocket knife, you know. This one, however, the only part missing off of this is the little tassel that used to come off of it. And it's not leather. If you look inside here, it's like the vinyl that you would put a car seat together with. And so is the tassel. And so what happened there was it broke. I tied it to my leg and running through the woods one day, it snapped. And I was like, oh, okay, so we got rid of that. You can see it is not fancy at all. This thing is very poor quality. But the fact that it's still hanging in there after all those years. Here's our sharpening stone or dulling stone, as it were. This thing is a replacement. The original one broke in half and got lost. But every time I go to a flea market, a gun show, anything like that, if I find one of these things on the table and it's a $5 knife, I'm buying it. So I actually have 2 or 3 of these things, but this is the original. I'll go ahead and pop it open. And you can see I've kept up with it. The knife has been sharpened professionally, and it is extremely sharp, but it will not hold that edge. We would go camping with these things, and you'd try to carve some sticks to cook on, and this thing would just dull out so quickly. You spend a lot of time with that sharpening stone. It did have the saw, which we thought this was a saw. Turns out this is to simulate what an airline pilot, you know, they're going to dig through the fuselage, the aluminum you can cut through with that. And then it had this, which is just a can opener, really. But the handle itself is hollow. It is also made out of like pot steel. It's a pot metal. So it is very, you can see it's cast. It is not strong at all. And the tang of this doesn't go any farther than there. There's a little 13mm nut that's inside of there that holds this on. So I've actually seen a couple of these that were cracked. And that's a thing. But what was awesome with this is that it had, there it is, it had, and of course the water used to be completely filled, has a compass. And so that the one that I had, this one here, when the water was full anyway, that compass was actually fairly usable. I mean, I wouldn't say it was accurate to a degree, but it was accurate enough to get you back in the right direction. You'd find a trailhead. So that was pretty cool. These 2 rings right here, let me unscrew the cap here and show you the good stuff. Yeah, so that was your cap there. Inside you had these 2 rings, and that was for the tree saw that it came with. Set those aside. And it came with a little waterproof baggie. And you might be able to see down in there. Probably not, huh? But there's a little nut down in there. And you can also see it's not extremely well built. Taiwanese made, and I'm not saying that disparagingly, it's just the way it is. But here it is, and this is an all original kit. This isn't the original one. For my original kit is so far gone, you know, that I rebuilt it so many times, but I decided to put this one together just to kind of recreate what it actually did come with. And what we have here is some fishing string, and people did fish with these. I fished with these. And it was kind of part of the fun. So we caught a few catfish. what they give you is some, quite a few actually, hooks and a couple of lead sinkers. And I think it was about 20 feet. And we would just wrap it around this and use that to pull them in. We also have a needle, so you could be just like John Rambo and sew yourself up if you get shot or blown up or whatever. And then we had this. I'm not going to undo it, but it looks just like a cable, but actually if you look closely, it's a rough edge. And if you straighten this thing out without kinking it, you can actually saw back and forth. You hook this to each end, saw back and forth, and you can cut down stuff. We cut down, you know, green stuff that was probably that big around. It's perfect for camping, you know. And then it does have some matches, and down here is the striker for it. Now the things that I did with mine, I double wrapped mine, and I kept this stuff here. I took out about half of those, so I had that. Got rid of the needle because I didn't need that. I did take this and this. This I replaced with waterproof matches, well, homemade waterproof matches. We took Strike Anywhere matches, something I learned in Scouts, and you take them and then you dip them in wax, pull them out. You can dip them all the way down there into wax. Now when you put them on something to light, you're going to dig through the wax the first strike or two, and then it catches, it lights. Now you've got wax here, so it's not going to go out even if these get damp. And it actually worked really, really well. So that's the kit I had. The other thing that I was able to do, which was pretty astounding, was I found bobbers. They were small enough to fit in here. So I had one tiny little bobber that I stuffed in mine. Now, would you actually want to use this for survival? Heck no. My friend, his broke off. We dented his as well. It had the black metal here instead of the chrome one, and it got a big dent in it. I don't remember how we did that, but it was a good one. But it was a piece of my youth, and probably a piece of yours if you're watching this video, that is something that like you cherish. So at the time, this was incredible. In reality, here as an adult, you're like, oh my gosh, this would break the first time you tried to use it for anything purposefully. But for camping, for roasting marshmallows, you know, getting a stick to cook hot dogs or skewer a critter that you were going to cook over the fire, it was good for that. It was good for that. And it certainly was cool to have. You felt like you were something when you were a teenager or a preteen and had this rolling down the street. Well, I guess that'll do it, my friend. I just wanted to share this with you. One of my very first videos. You can go back in time and watch it. I believe I also had the video of one of the commercials I found for it back then. So go ahead and search it out and see if you can find it. Till next time, my friends, take care.